your ass down.
You just sit your ass down and
Sit your ass down. Sit your $5 ass down before I make 10.
Man, sit your ass down.
Yes! We have hit it. It is this time of the week where we all need to take a look around. We give credit to credit is due. Some people messed up this week. This ain't a shaming thing. This ain't a belittling thing. This ain't a bullying thing. This is a hold up. You got a little too lost in your own sauce. Hey, you need to sit your ass down. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, sir. You getting too hyped for the room right now. Please sit your ass down. Alright, look. First sit your ass down goes to someone who totally deserves it. I am a shit talker. And I know what this is. I know what it is to talk shit. But the first sit your ass down this week goes to Curtis Harper. Yes, we've all seen the YouTube clips. We've all seen the stuff. But just in case you was under a rock and you didn't know, Curtis Harper is a professional boxer. And in the world of professional boxing, you got to get hype. You have to intimidate. You have to do everything to make your opponent not get off kilter. Mental game as well as the physical game. And I understand that. Now, like many people, when it comes down to Curtis Harper, I was watching Fox Sports 1. And I saw the heavyweight fight mainly because Curtis Harper has been saying in interviews, hey, look, I'm going to kick that ass. I'm going to do this, that, and the third. We're going to do everything that we have to do with his opponent. And I want to get this right. I don't want to mess up my man's name. Jaguaba. You know who you is. If you was in the Curtis Harper fight, you know who you is. I apologize if I butchered your name. So, after all the I'm going to intimidate, I'm going to do this, I'm going to whatever. In the realm of this, the bell rung 1 second into the fight. My man Curtis Harper walks out of the ring calmly and walked away. Just walked away. He at the end of the fight, and then please look up this YouTube video. This is mainly because I've listened to promoters, I've listened to commentaries, I've listened to everyone, and I've never seen anything like it. That's the only thing I left out. The Jacksonville native said it was done in protest after the fact, after he walked out. He said it was done after the fact. He said he isn't afraid. It was his biggest fight of his career. It's just he was disgusted with the business practices that he saw. Curtis, you went this far talking all that shit? Man, sit your ass down. You walked out of the ring. You talk about business practices. Speaking of business practices, you will never be in a heavyweight fight again. Mainly because they're afraid of you doing this shit again. And then on top of that, you have that edge, that fear shit, that intimidation shit. Oh, that went right out the door. I mean, like, not every boxer outside of Glass Joe and King Hippo can punk your ass. So my man Curtis, please watch the YouTube clip so you can see what I gotta say about this. Oh, there's more to this. I want to make this this is a show. Curtis, sit your ass down. Our next sit your ass down go to let's just get into it. We talked about it at the start of this podcast. We talked about it. We kind of nosed around it, but Aretha, next sit your ass down go to Al Sharpton. Yes, why Al? Al was a good dignitary. Why Al? I'll tell you why Al. See, the deal with Al is this. Much like everyone else, during this week, Aretha Franklin was laid to rest. She's a queen, heavenly, got the greatest send-off a funeral could have. Pretty sure on more podcasts we're going to jump more into it after watching the funeral. and we're gonna get more into it because the funeral itself is a podcast. But when you sit down this week, everybody who's ever had any insignificant or meaningful interactions with the Queen of Soul herself, Aretha Franklin, got in front of a microphone, got in front of a television screen, got in front of the world to let you know that they knew Aretha. And in the case of Al, he did just that, but that wasn't good enough. He ended his CNN show. I hope it's CNN. I want his show, and he talked about his good friend, somebody he been around, someone he been around the block with, he hung out with. He used his relationship with her to make a point to a higher power, being Dope 45, and his constituents. We got a clip of that? Let's play the clip.
So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some RESPICT.
That's your girl. Her claim to fame. The song that really sets her out. I want to hear that one more time. Maybe I was wrong.
So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some RESPICT.
Al, you was doing good. You was doing damn good before all, I guess, spelling was involved. You was doing damn good. That's your girl. And then the closing response to your diss to 45 and all the administration, all this, and a slight weight tribute to Aretha Franklin. You couldn't even get the fucking spelling right. She spells it in the song. Come on. I'm starting to think, Al, you and Aretha wasn't that close. How did you fuck that up? So Al Sharpton, as a person who's done tributes or know a thing about tributes, and you want to put your little taste on it, put your little spin on it, if you ain't playing around, even I did an Aretha tribute last podcast, in the Sitchoassdown. There was a noticeable Aretha tribute in my Sitchoassdown. I made sure I kicked out Aretha songs. Wanna know why? Because I know how to fucking do a tribute. But Al, come on, man, you better than this. And it hurts me to say this, Al, sit your ass down. And lastly, and certainly not leastly, this is newcomer Sitchoassdown, Kyle Green. Now, Kyle Green, there's a couple people who's looking around the room like, I don't know who Kyle Green is. Kyle Green is a person in Minnesota who's running for office. And Kyle Green, while running for office, he's a black dude trying to do the right thing. Actually, we got a copy of his ad campaign. Can we play some ad? The Kyle Green ad, the reason he's getting you sit your ass down. Kyle Green ad. We got it? Here we go.
Hi, I'm your neighbor Kyle Green. I'm running for District 18A State Representative. I'm not asking for you to vote for me as your leader. I'm asking for you to vote for me as your public servant. The primary duty of a state representative is to protect all the rights of his constituents. I want to be your state representative, I want to be your public servant, and I want to be your nigger.
Okay, Kyle. Let's unpack that, because that was a lot. Okay, Kyle. First of all, you are a state representative. The key to any state representatives is to uphold the government at the best possible way you can. That should not include racial slurs. That's number one. Number two, we get it, Kyle. You're a black man in Minnesota. You should not have to play the race card that quick. You shouldn't have to play the race card in the fucking commercial, Kyle. Number three, as a black man, and during this podcast, me, my good friend BK, we've used the N-word quite a few times. I don't plan on stopping. But Kyle, as a guy who uses the N word, please, oh please, not just a guy who uses it, as a guy who's running for state rep, who's using it, a guy who's using it as a marketing tool to run for a state rep, using it. Kyle, please refrain from using the ER version of that word. End it with an A, not an ER. I'm not saying it's right to do so in a state representative commercial. But look, man, it's importance to this. The reason it's important is because there's a stigma to it, Kyle. You already coming out the gate, and that's how they gonna see you. Whoever the they is the they you talking about. If this they you thinking of is the they I'm talking about. If they refer to you as that word, congratulations, you just proved a point. Because you wasted your own time, energy, money, and everything to say that you're that N-word. And if you're that N-word in Minnesota, come on, man. You better than that, Kyle. That's cheap gifts, that's cheap propaganda, and quite honestly, that's race baiting. That's not even racist. That's not even racial. That's race baiting, what you trying to do, man. And even if you were completely successful in what you're doing, the entire state of Minnesota, the population of black people in the entire state of Minnesota is 22%, and a lot of that 22% is only there because they're incarcerated there, because Minnesota has the highest rate of incarcerating minorities in the entire country. Kyle, you better than that. I hope you do better. I hope you learn from this mistake. But until then, man, sit your ass down.